I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we have the minutes of March 9th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 9th.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move on to bills for payment. We have warrants 20 and the payroll 20P. We're going to ratify warrants 19 and 20R, and those are fees from marriage licenses being sent to the state and the $500 deposit on truck. And then the capital fund number 5.
I'll make a motion to approve bills for payment warrants 20, 20P, 19R2, 20R, and CF5.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Warrant 20 is for $41,553.96. And that, we're going to spend that on payroll transfers, insurance through Vermont League and Cities and Towns, the printing and mailing of the town report, salt for the highway, fuel, our contract with the Wyndham County Humane Society, and our monthly sheriff's bill, and for work clearing debris from culvert on Johnson's Curve Road. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
We're going to just make a change in our agenda and have Lee Chamberlain step up to the podium now, and then Dan Bailey with the Dummerston School would be after. Sure. So.
Okay, so the paving for East-West Road, we did put that out to bid. The bid should come back next meeting. Put them out to 3 different companies, and this would be from Green Mountain Camp Road east, as far as the money will go, which we're kind of predicting like a half a mile. So that's that. Then, so we can go over Johnson's Curve Road. As you saw, there was a bill from Clark's to remove the debris. And after we removed the debris, we found that the inlet of the box, it's a concrete box, the top of it had, 4 feet of it had fallen in. And in doing so, it doesn't allow us to rip wrap that bank up to the road. It's like 25 feet down. So if we want to rip wrap that bank, we need that piece poured. The only thing, it wasn't reported as the structure being damaged to FEMA because the debris was covering it and we couldn't see it until we actually removed it. So we are working with our FEMA rep on that. Charlotte sent him a bunch of information today. Tomorrow I'm meeting with a construction company, Daniels, to see about a plan as far as how they would complete the job, and then hopefully go out to bid after we get that plan made. And it's the same kind of thing. We aren't 100, if we proceed, we aren't 100% sure if FEMA will pay for it or not. I think the best way is just see what the estimate is, and then we can go further. I would say the other option is we leave it the way it is, apply for a structures grant, which would take care of it. But we move further down on our other structures. Leave it, and if the bank slides more, then narrow the road up to a one-lane road over it. So I think the best route is to try to go through FEMA, if at all possible. There isn't a lot on the project that we can do because it's pretty dangerous. It's pretty far down and it's pretty straight up and down. So really all we'd be doing is signs and those kind of things. Maybe some material, but, so whatever the cost is, we're gonna have to generate that 12% or 12.5%.
And Bill's meeting with the supervisor tomorrow on this.
Yeah.
That's what I got out of that email.
Yeah,
Yep.
right, and
And he's got all the information he needs from Charlotte to have a meeting with the supervisor from us, right?
yeah, I sent him the maintenance record of it. And there was actually a note in there from 2008 that that same thing had happened, as far as the culvert plug-in, and us going down there and getting it undone.
Okay.
But,
Is it a metal culvert with a concrete box end?
no, it's complete, but
It's complete
concrete.
concrete,
Yeah, it's old Route 5, so,
right?
or, so it's probably, I don't know how old it is, 100 years or whatever.
So the entire concrete culvert needs to be replaced,
No, just the 4 feet on the inlet.
just on
And
the
it's
inlet.
just the top of it. If the whole thing, the estimate was like 500,000 for the whole thing,
For the whole thing.
because it's 50 feet down on the outlet. It's a big project. But we're hoping we can just do the top of the box. There is one wing wall that's eroded behind it, so we have to fill that in.
And they'd be able to tie back into the existing?
Right.
That's good.
Right, the problem is, I don't know how they ever hold the bank while they do the work. Because it is, if they have to dig up part of the road. I'm not sure.
Yep.
I'm not sure.
Because that is a very steep section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we did get debris part of it, taken
Debris
care of
done.
it, so I think that we can get paid for that now too.
Yeah, that goes into the other debris stuff, so we
Yeah.
should.
Okay, and then the other FEMA one is Camp Arden Road structure. Right now, I did talk with the engineer this week. We sent what paperwork we have to him, and then he sent down, I might have told you, he sent down a set of plans already. But he was hoping to get the final numbers taken care of this week. It might be next week, but somewhere in there. And then we'll get him to Scott Jensen from A&R there and just make sure he's on board with it all. And then I think we'll be good to go and have our pre-bid meeting and go out to bid on that. So the time, I think the time right now is still planning on this construction season, July 1st to October, right in that time frame.
And are we anticipating that FEMA will also cover some of that?
Right now, we're hoping,
They had some questions on it today. I think Charlotte sent
oh, they
that
had
out.
questions on that one also?
I think so, if I'm remembering reading the email right.
Okay.
He had a couple questions on it.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see those questions on that one. But yes, we're hoping that we're responsible for 12.5. Right now, we're supplying the stone for the bypass road, gravel, surface gravel for the project. Of course, signage, to try to make up some of our 12.5%. But it's the same thing with that bigger project. I don't think we'll be able to do the whole 12.5%.
Would this be, it wouldn't just be another culvert, it would be a structure?
Yeah, it's actually a cement bridge. Yeah.
Okay. Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's it's, I don't know if anyone saw the one up on Stickney by Sunset, but it's similar to that one.
Yep.
Yes, it's because of height restrictions and if you put in something that's higher, you have to build the road up and those kind of things. So we believe this is going to be the best.
And So there'd be a temporary road around?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, of course, and then that's gonna add some, money to the project too, but it's the only way to do it out there.
Right.
And then, the mud, yeah, it's, I don't think we're too bad off, but it is a year that, everything's softened up all at once. It's usually up on Sunset Lake, we have, it's 2 weeks behind, so we can kind of get taken care of down here and then move up there, but everything's the same.
Were they upgrading up there today? I saw the grader go through.
Oh, where are we, Grand Tank?
You must, it was on this
No.
side.
No, not on this side. Oh, he came to a fire call.
Oh, okay.
No, we've been hauling gravel and raking it out with the tractor with the rake on it. On this side, so we just leave the tractor over here and then they can haul and then they just rake it out themselves. But we have been grading quite a few roads and some have been turning out decent and then others, are getting soft again, but it usually takes 3 to 4 weeks to get around the whole town, so it's, we're just taking the main roads and trying to keep people happy. So, and then the other thing we have is we have to do our annual, or we have every other year, but we do CPR and first aid for our MSHA for the gravel pit, and that's Monday, so. But it's supposed to be pretty cold Monday, so hopefully
Yeah.
we don't get around. Fine. But
How did you make out, we got it on the agenda, how did you make out with your, better back roads, figuring out where we are with that? Are we gonna make it for this year, percentage wise?
yeah, Seek mentioned something like that to me, and I'm not 100% sure what. For the better back roads, we didn't do a grant for that. So I think must be a miscommunication of something.
Oh, okay, then what were you, I just didn't understand what you were inputting on Wednesday. Remember or Thursday when we met over there?
Okay, so that was a better back roads, but that was only entering it into the inventory.
Okay, all right.
Because, yeah, we met with Wyndham Regional, Charlotte and I, to, the towns have got to enter their own information now. Wyndham Regional isn't going to do it.
Okay.
They'll help, but, so of course, all these hydrologically connected sections of town, we have a bunch. We're supposed to have a certain percentage done, actually this year. And so we have to get all of ours entered to see if we're at that percentage. They don't think there's no police or anything. It's just a matter of we do what we can when we can. And as long as we apply for grants, we're good.
Yep.
Because that's the only way we can afford to do them, because it's a lot of stone, line ditching and stuff.
Gotcha.
So,
And so the annual report, the municipal roads general permit, that's what we'll be
yeah,
dealing with tonight.
okay.
And that's what,
Yeah, it includes all that kind of stuff, yeah.
Okay.
Just
Now I get
making
it.
sure we're doing something. And I don't know if we didn't do anything, what they would actually do, but.
and this is mostly putting tiles or drainage,
Yeah, it's
riprap.
riprap and anything over 8% slope, grass seeding, making ditches, grass seeding. It's all about, it's just water quality,
Yeah.
getting the water off the road as fast as possible. I think that's all I have.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just wait and see
Yeah,
what
it's
we
more to
find
come.
out from Bill.
Yeah, it's more to come for next
Right,
weekend.
is it Daniels you said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah,
Daniel and
7:30
Bill.
tomorrow morning, I'm supposed to be
Okay.
in there, so. But it's gonna take him a little while to figure out the price, or a guesstimate, or quote or whatever.
Huh, okay. Any other questions for Lee? Any?
I have a question for you.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
Because I spoke with him, thank you for calling me back.
Okay.
I'm Dan from Dummerston School.
Okay, yep, all right.
And I
Yes,
spoke
cement
with
blocks.
you about the concrete blocks
Yeah.
around the fuel tank.
Mhm.
If you might be able to remove those maybe late this week or early next week.
Okay.
If
Yeah,
you
it did
have
cross my mind today at one point, but.
Availability, so because we're gonna sink in some bollards for,
When did you say that timeline again was? The end of this week and beginning of next?
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
all right, beginning
And
of
so just
next.
give me a ring when you have availability, so I
Okay.
can schedule it.
Okay, so it's not, we just can't swing down in when we have a minute and, or can we do it at like 6:30 in the morning?
Oh, sure,
Okay.
sure,
All
yeah.
right, because we'll probably do it early before the kids are there.
Yeah, that's fine,
All right,
that's fine.
okay.
That'd be good, because we have to get that tank reset, because it's kind of sliding off its foundation, so. That's my next project.
Okay.
But that'd be great, thank you.
All right, and feel free to remind me if something doesn't happen.
No,
I don't mind.
thank you very much.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks,
All
Lou.
right, have a good night.
All right. So, okay, so we have that, we need to sign the municipal roads general permit.
I'll make a motion for us to approve the MRGP annual report.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? And this is what Lee was talking about, just water quality along sensitive roadways, that some work is getting done each year. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Sign that. And then, great.
Do you want to go first?
Oh, well,
You want to go first? Okay. You go first.
okay, so next on our agenda is Dan Bailey, and is going to talk or present the Dummerston School playground projects. And
Yes.
Dan Bailey and Friends.
Right, so,
So,
and the friends are?
I'm Jessica Nelson, I'm from the Dummerston Leadership Council.
I'm Juliette Egan, the principal.
Okay.
The school, and I will yield the floor. Ms. Nelson to start.
Sure, and I was just going to give you a brief history of kind of the project, and hopefully you've had some awareness just with the communications we've been putting out over the last year. But in 2019, we started a playground and outdoor innovation committee, just knowing that money hadn't really been spent on the playground in the last 30 years. That's been such a labor of love by the community in general. But we had to remove the ship that was there a few years ago just because it had passed its time. So we kind of started to look at what were the present needs of the students and the staff and also the community at large when thinking about the school and the playground as not just a school resource but really a community resource. And so after we kind of surveyed all these populations and got feedback on what was going to be important, we hired a local landscape designer, Adam Hubbard, out of Westminster West, and he's kind of helped us create, design kind of all those thoughts we had into something cohesive that we could use and help us come up with a budget. So last spring and summer and fall, we really started in earnest, not just with fundraising, but also just really starting to develop the spaces that we needed by a lot of brush clearing. We put a trail, walking and bike trail up through the woods. We've added swing sets. We've added a lot to our early learning center and a kickback wall that students actually helped build, some of our junior high students. But really the ambitious part is starting this coming spring and summer, where this spring and summer we're going into 2 out of 4 phases. And actually, you may have seen this, I've kind of started to circulate it around the community, but that kind of speaks to the phases in our budgeting right now. This summer we're hoping to add an outdoor amphitheater, really expand our garden and garden beds, disc golf holes, which we really see as kind of a great community use. A walking path, a flat path where people can walk, because we know we lack that in this area, actually having a flat area that people can walk or ride bikes on. And then really our big project, a big climbing structure for the kids and a big outdoor pavilion, because the pandemic has really taught us that having outdoor spaces to meet, to eat, to have music, to host classes, to host all sorts of things, where you can either be shaded from the sun or from the snow, is something that regardless of the pandemic, we're really going to use moving forward. So that's kind of where we're at now, and I know Dan has brought some fancy maps and pieces to share with you, but I'll let you jump in.
Sure, thank you. So, as you know, I am Dan Bailey, the facilities manager at the school, so I am involved with keeping everything up and running, so forth. And so I'm involved with the playground committee and also as a school representative. I'm just going to give you a larger version of that, may even be a little more up to date. So, and as we were developing these plans, I realized that our lease, since the district, the Unified District leases the school building from the town, and that you, the town, actually still owns the land. Any improvements done to the property becomes property of the town by default. So I wanted to be sure, and we wanted to be sure, that everyone understood what was going on and knew what we were doing and how it impacted the school and the community, and also to be sure that we weren't overstepping any boundaries as far as with zoning or with the town's rights as property owners. And so why I wanted to make this presentation was to be sure that everyone was on board, and also a chance to explore if there's anything either legally or in any other aspect of the town's ownership of the property that we need to be sensitive to. So that's why I'm here. So we're all on board with this project. So, and since we will be adding structures and not really changing the fundamental use of the land, but we will be adding permanent structures there, that they were in accordance with Dummerston zoning and your use policies.
And this, this plan that you just handed to us,
Yeah.
this is proposed with all 1 to 4 phases?
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
one term.
Here
Yeah.
is the real big one that's color coded that you can actually read, which actually shows how, which you find to pass around, because that doesn't show the entire plat, whereas this does.
Right.
And so the permanent structures that we're looking at building that are not playground equipment are here and here. That's a 24 by 36 pavilion. This, for the Early Learning Center, it is actually smaller than what they proposed here. This was an 18 by 30. It's actually going to be a 22 by 16 pavilion, so it's smaller. And that is the only one that's even close to any questions with setbacks, but I still believe we're well beyond the 100 feet that is required. But also, I wanted to get a sense from you guys, if we were to apply for zoning permits, if we had to, one, and then if we were to apply for them, should we apply as all one big project, or do we need to go at it as individual things?
I would defer to our planning committee.
I think you're gonna have to apply for it in its entirety.
So we'll write up an all-encompassing proposal to get a zoning permit for each
Yeah.
item, okay.
And
That
and I
was,
think Roger would agree with that. I think he's got to see the whole scope of the project.
right, okay.
I don't know,
Okay.
have you talked with Roger?
I have spoken with Roger, and so I had CC'd him on all of this, so he was aware that this was going on. He wasn't sure if it needed to go through the development, the DRB.
Right.
Right, because I think it was one building that was gonna take too much square footage off of the area, in that area. There was a question on that.
There's only a certain amount of coverage you can
Right.
have on a piece of property.
Right.
So, and then if I,
But the thing is, and Roger brought this to my attention, that property actually started out as 2 parcels. And so the old school in the addition on the parcel was the 50% coverage. But then when you added all the other land, we're nowhere
right,
near that. And the thing is, and the kind of quirky thing was that the school's addition in '94 was put across that property line, but there was no indication made of that in the records as far as the amount of the percentage of coverage in there. So if we look at it as all one big parcel, which in the town record now, it appears to be all one
right.
piece, we're nowhere near the 50.
But I think he'll also, because you're adding a lot more paving,
That's proposed, yes.
so I think that's gonna become, I mean, paving would be considered permanent as well,
Okay,
so.
Yep.
I
That's
believe
fine.
Roger would definitely.
Yeah.
okay,
know a
well,
lot
that's
better.
good, see, that's why I
Yeah.
wanted
What is
to
what is the
figure-
surface type of the walking path?
The surface type that we are eventually planning would probably be a gravel bed with sure pack on it, probably 6 to 8 feet wide. What we are doing right now, just to establish the trail, is basically mowing it down right to the surface, so you can actually see
The trail, yeah.
where it is, and we have it flagged out, and we encourage you guys to come on up and take a look now that the snow's gone and it's not knee deep in mud now. So you can see what's going on, and you can see some of the improvements around the back of the school and some of the clearing. It looks very good now. And hopefully they'll keep
Yeah.
down ticks.
And we just too wanted to just publicly thank everyone for the support we've had, from the Dummerston community through the pandemic and so many different ways, but this is one way. We started this project before the pandemic. There was a survey created, and even before any of this happened, the Dummerston community, the school, the students, but the community at large was surveyed about, like, what do we want here? Like, what do we want in this space? And there's definitely this interest in having the Dummerston School campus, which is so large and beautiful, to have it be a space where it's a chance for the community to come together, strengthening the relationship with the school, and just using, like, this beautiful asset we have. And a lot of real interest in prioritization of gardening, food production on the campus, using the woods, and just having, like, learning space outside. In addition to people feeling like, and we also need a traditional playground, that's updated. And as Jessica mentioned, the last one was such a beautiful, the community came together and created that. And so it's sort of like that is happening again. Then the pandemic happened, and what's amazing is how the pandemic just changed the way we occupy the space. Like, if you come during the school day, you just see children out in spaces that before we didn't use, because sometimes you're just not forced to use something until something shifts. And so now the Early Learning Center side is really, there are children out there, like, basically all day. I mean, we really expect students to go outside every single day, all weather. We expect our young students to be outside, like, for big chunks of time, learning in that space. And the teachers on that end of the building have, like, an entire classroom world set up out there. We've been hiking to, some classes have been going into the vernal pools that are just off the property. Like we've communicated, with people who live just along the edge. And so I just want to thank, people for helping to make that happen. We had a lot of, parent involvement. We've also had a lot of community support, like in terms of donations to the project and just interest in the project. We are going to have a community work day on May 14th, community work party that we would, I know Dummerston Cares didn't get to have their, the day because of the Delta variant and the surge. And we were thinking that day would be really great to just, we have some projects that can be done that are pretty simple that people can do together. And we have some larger projects, but there's a lot in our plan that's just sort of a simple, like stripping locusts. We have locust logs sitting there on the side of the parking lot right now. And having the opportunity to do that together, and people are talking about having a potluck and bringing some music, and so we'll be like publicizing that, but we really want it to be, people to come. It's been a long time since people have been able to be at the school, and we can be together on that day outside and share in that project, and we hope we'll send more information about that. That's like details are coming, but it's been really one of the silver linings of this experience, and something I think we're excited to show everybody what's been going on. And we have in terms of some of the space too, this year we got a $10,000 grant from the Vermont Department of Agriculture. So there's, and we're getting coaching from NOFA on that project. So there's a lot of things coming. There's a lot of things coming together, which has been great because a lot of things have been kind of out of our control in the last couple of years, and we've been working through all these stressors and things, things that we've had to manage, and this has been kind of a nice project we've been able to work on that's really about the future and about community, so.
And speaking of grants, I just want to follow up on what Julie said. I'm currently in the process of writing a grant proposal that may cover the cost of our pavilion. And the pavilion, just so you have a sense, we priced it out ourselves for the equipment, and it's going to be parent volunteer built, because after we got the quotes of what it would be to have it done by someone else, it was more than we had budgeted for. So we said this is something we can do, and you can see this was actually what Dan brought along with him. A student in Dan put that together as kind of our little model of what it's going to look like. But in talking to the executor of the grant, they were hoping that the select board was had positive feeling towards our renovation in general. And if that's the case, I'll follow up with an email after this. I have a template letter just saying we support this project being done by the school, but I can follow up with everyone on that. If you'd like to include that with our grant proposal, it would be super helpful.
What's a sense of?
I think it sounds terrific, actually, really wonderful to bring the community together after a difficult time, and I think that if we can get it done, it's going to be terrific for the community, so I would be strongly in favor of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, and part of this too was with the unification of the school district. I think there are some feelings in town, in not just this town, but other towns too, that their schools have kind of become separated from the town. And we just want to reassure people that that's not the case at all. That we're still very much a part of the town, and the school is very much an anchor point for community events. And hopefully we will be able to host town meeting next year.
Well, I was just wondering, the dimensions of your pavilion, if we had to have it outside.
We could have it outside.
Yes, I know,
We
that's
could
the
have
thing,
it
yes,
outside.
yes.
We could,
I
yes.
don't know if we could fit
Yeah.
everyone in. It's
Well,
going to be 24 by 36.
Yeah.
It's not huge,
Well,
but it's
right.
not, tiny
Yeah.
either.
Well,
It's nice looking too, I like the,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was gonna be a post and beam
Post and beam,
frame,
yeah.
not super fancy, but pretty utilitarian. It's like a barn without sides.
Yeah.
So, but something that would last, so. Was it? And also too, if any of you wanna stop by and tour the school at all, I'm more than willing, give a call to show you around. With the district being unified, it has allowed us to do a lot more capital improvements without having to have bond votes. We're, probably by the end of this fiscal year, we will have put in probably close to $500,000 worth of capital improvements into the school. Being a new wood pellet heating system, improvements to the air ventilation system. We are in the process of getting another new air handling unit put in. We have had the chimney reconstructed. We have had energy efficient lights put in the gym. Through that, we've had numerous other smaller improvements and
Well,
more.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
Yeah.
We had the power going into the school buried because the power lines were about to pull off the side of the old building. So we averted disaster there. So been working, and we have the septic system fixed. So
Yes.
we're good. We've
Important feature.
got it all.
Okay.
So, but that was just, we wanted to present this to you to see what was going on there and sort of get your feedback. And
It seems like, my sense is it's a very positive response to your
Yes.
presentation.
great,
Yeah.
thanks.
My only suggestion would be to get a hold of Roger.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna say, hook up with
He'll,
Roger.
he'll definitely
Okay.
work, I mean, he's really good about working through the process
Okay,
Yes,
with zoning,
Great.
Yeah.
so.
yeah.
that's fine. Okay, then we'll put together a large permitting portfolio for him that he can, hopefully that can just get all done all at once, so.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, we have one question from,
Zeke, may I address the guests?
you may.
My name is Mark Crackham. In '97, I was at the playground at the school from start to finish.
Nice.
Matter of fact, the first day of school, I was doing the finishing touches.
That's great.
My daughter got a little, she was 2 at the time, my daughter got a little older, and I did the Winston Prouty Center from start to finish. And one summer in Putney, I raised the barn. There was 3 of us, start to finish.
Wow.
So if you're looking for somebody,
Yes.
Yes.
You're gonna look right here.
and not to blow my own horn, but
Yeah.
knows what the hell to do and how to do it.
Okay.
Okay, well, you've heard, you've heard the May 14th today,
There
right?
you go.
On May 14th, I gotta ask you a question.
Yep.
You said food and drink and music. That's okay. But let me give you a heads up in case you didn't think about it. You gotta have the work done.
The work is first.
The work is
Before the
first. Yes,
food
yes.
comes out.
The work, all that stuff, yes. The work is first.
The work is absolutely first.
Okay. This way you get something
Yeah.
accomplished.
Thank you.
But
I'm not
my,
gonna like turn on the good smells until like
Yes.
people have completed.
my number's in the phone book, so call me.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
I'm not a computer person, so if you email me, you'll be growing gray hair.
Okay. All right,
All right.
great, thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Great, well,
All right.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
any more
you.
questions?
Have a good
Well,
night.
You wanna take us with you? Yeah,
sure, you
Yeah,
can
don't
keep
forget
the,
But it does look nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like
That'll
we
be
spent
Thank
a
you.
lot
at
of
the
time.
school if you
Great,
need it.
thanks, man.
thank
And,
you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Here, you want a copy of what we're doing? Well, when I have my glasses on. Thank you.
Gloria. Okay.
All right, let's see.
Okay,
Are we ready to move on?
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay, under correspondence for information, is there anything you'd like to discuss? Let's see. Okay. Okay, then moving on to new business. We still have appointments to committees and commissions.
I will make a motion that we appoint to the DRB, Cammie Elliott, Chad Farnham, and Natalie Pellman-Starkey. To the Conservation Commission, the two that we just talked to earlier, Emily Alexander and Jesse Wagner.
Okay.
Energy Committee, Doug Morton, Alex Wilson, and Mark Crayco. And that's all I have for this meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion?
What happened to Doug, or is his term not up?
No, she mentioned his name.
His
Doug
name
Moore.
too.
So, all right. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. So, let's see,
We're almost there.
almost there. We still have farmland committee, what else?
I think that, yes, that'll be settled very quickly. I think they'll all be back, I think, on the,
Okay, and we still need to hear back from the alternates on the Deerfield Valley
Yes.
Communications.
Yeah,
Unit.
we're still waiting.
Okay,
I think I'll know this week, so.
great, good. Okay, excellent. Good, thanks, Maria.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's see, we're going to have an ARPA work session. And everyone had their homework
Homework.
completed?
I did.
Read the 44 pages.
Yep,
All pages.
yeah,
So the actual ARPA award approximately that we will have we've got one payment, we'll have another payment, is actually 521,000.
the total.
Be the total approximately.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get another payment in. I'd hesitate to give a date on any of this stuff as it moves. So the question is, and just to bring it up so you can think about it, this was the last minute change to this, is we had a revenue loss where we could take, if we calculate it out, and then at the last moment, they changed it so that we could take one time standard deduction, and I don't know if you read it, up to your 10 million, and of course our 521,000 is below the 10 million. We have to do it between April 1st and April 30th. We'd have to vote on that. So we need to have
You spoke to
some
Mike
discussion regarding
about
whether we want to do that.
using the
It does make the reporting
No, I-
easier.
I know.
It basically allows it into both
Both
budgets. So that's what we should probably have a ARPA work session so we can really go through it.
Yeah, so we'll do.
To make that decision, you're saying?
Yes, because we have to, if we do it, we have one vote,
Yeah.
one time, and it has to be done after April 1st, but before April 30th.
So the work session should be before April.
Yeah, I would, say if we could have a work session, I mean, we could combine it with a goals work session,
Yeah.
and just have one work session so that I can explain to you, and that way.
I would really appreciate that. I read about that, but you sound like you have a really good handle on it, so I'd really appreciate having a better handle on
Right,
details on what that
understand it a little.
decision
Yeah.
means, because I'm not there yet.
it seems like, okay, it's just like doing your taxes, where depending on your income, it's just easier to make a
Yeah.
standard deduction, but, if your income is another thing, then itemizing is.
It's almost the opposite of how your taxes are if you really want to think about it. You know what I mean? If you're thinking that we had no revenue loss, but now this would be considered a $521,000 revenue loss. Yeah. So yeah, you're right, yeah, it is.
Okay,
So when would we want to do this?
let's see, so 23rd today. Let's see, our next meeting will be April 6th.
Yes,
Okay. But we have the hearing on April 6th.
at 6:30.
Right, so, yeah, this is only, when we decide on this, it only needs to be a motion. There is no paperwork to this.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not like I gotta generate anything. Cheryl will go into the portal.
Yeah.
So,
What's the day we have to decide by?
April 30th.
So what's our next meeting date?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
It's the 6th, and then you had
The 20th.
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 Sound, 20th sound good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, do you wanna do it before? If we're gonna do a goals and
You mean, like, do we wanna do
Do
the
it like-
meeting and tack the two meetings on, or do
Yeah.
that separate day?
we'd have to do it before the vote. You see, that's the whole thing, we'd have to
I get what you're
discuss
saying.
this
We need
before
to
we
vote on
vote
it
on
in
it.
our
Okay, let's do ARPA maybe earlier, before. And this isn't to discuss what.
No,
we
no,
might
this is
possibly
not,
do.
to-
This is just to discuss,
Which decision we're making?
yeah.
right, because this is the board's decision if
Yeah.
we take this. No, we're not
So-
discussing where any money's going, it's just how we're gonna accept the money.
All right.
That's the best way to
Okay.
put it.
Okay.
So could we do it,
We can do it beforehand.
Yeah.
that's what I was
let's do
thinking,
it, and
maybe we
then-
could do it before
And then
and,
do the goals after.
Yeah.
Okay, of the 20, of
Yeah.
the
20th?
20th, that sounds,
so this, you're saying before on the 6th?
No, 20.
No, before on the 20th,
20.
before on the 20th,
yep.
so we
Oh,
wanna,
because the 6th we have our 6:30
Yeah.
meeting. Yep, so before, then we have our meeting so we can vote on it officially, and then,
yeah, because we'd have to vote on
Yeah,
this right
yeah.
right,
afterwards.
okay, that sounds good.
So we'll do it about what time you wanna do it on the 20th?
5:30?
5:30, yeah.
5:30?
Yeah.
That'd be.
Okay.
Is that
plenty of
enough,
time.
as a half an hour enough time?
Oh,
Wow,
I
I-
think so.
for goals.
I'm ready to vote right now. I'll send in a.
Right, I mean, it's,
Absentee ballot on this one.
And then have the goals work session after the regular meeting?
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
So whatever time we end the meeting.
right.
Let's see, April 20th. What sort of meeting are we going to have on April 20th?
I really don't know.
Well, gee whiz.
It could be a quick meeting,
Yeah,
it could be,
a quick meeting, they
I
generally
mean-
are. So I think we'll get home before dark.
oh, I think so
I
too,
think so, too.
yes.
All right.
Okay, and that way, and if you have any specific questions that you think of, you know, like Rebecca,
Yeah,
just give me a buzz or email me
Okay,
or
great.
whatever, and, you know, to give it a little,
yeah, so we're not just like starting from scratch.
right.
Right,
You know, if you read it over, reading that section a little bit,
Yeah.
and then if you got any questions, and then I'm kinda.
Okay,
yeah,
great, thanks, Terry.
Yeah,
Great.
And we can always have more than one work session for the goals and ARPA after we've made the
Yeah.
Decision.
decision, right?
oh, we're gonna have to get some community.
Exactly,
Yeah, we're
right.
gonna have to, this is just so that anybody has any
Yeah.
questions about the standard deduction, because once the 30th is over, we have no choice. We can't go backwards and vote on that anymore, to take it as a standard allowance is what they call it. So, yeah, no, we're gonna, I've already actually gotten some calls in from the public regarding, they wanna put input into what we're gonna do with ARPA.
Right, that makes sense.
Yes, yes.
I'm wondering if we could ask Lori to post that information, that,
But the 44 pages?
yeah, or a link to it, or
She could.
just so.
There is people that are reading it. The
Yeah.
person I talked to that called me this morning actually read it
Yep.
and had some questions on it.
Okay. Mhm.
If
We just make it available, widely available, so people who have some ideas can look through it and see.
Yeah, actually, the training, I have to tell you, the training, I'm gonna give you, if I can find the link on YouTube, because it hasn't come through my email. The webinar that Charlotte and I just took, oh gosh, I can't even remember what day it is, but was it Monday? With the US Treasury. That was for an hour, that was I have to say, the most concise webinar. And if I can give you the link to that, I'm gonna send it around because I think it'll make the best sense. It just hasn't come through yet.
Great.
Okay, and that's, because this has been so, there's so many moving parts to this, and then it just shifted. And then actually, they're not even done finishing with the guidance yet. So there's still stuff that Treasury still needs to do on this. Not our guidance per se, but as the input guidance. So, so it's still moving,
Uh-huh.
but
That, yeah, that webinar sounds good. I mean, you took,
I will-
you were involved in so many that it's good to hear that one.
Right.
yeah,
Sounds
that one
helpful.
kinda, it was only 50 minutes, it was really easy. If I can get it on YouTube, I don't know if they've downloaded it now, I'll check for you, and I'll
Right.
send it around.
Okay.
Great. All right. Is there any other business, new business?
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, there we have it.